Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to WillCast. It's the podcast with the potentially most creative name in the entire world. Thank you for tuning in as always. I appreciate you liking, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. Today, NeemaNaz. How's it going, my friend?
How's it going, buddy? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you on. I really like when comedians branch out to do different things. Like the first time I got to know of you was like many others, I assume, was the amazing Gary Vee impressions that you did.
hmm
What was it like meeting Gary Vee in real life after doing the impressions?
it was very surreal because I looked up to him for a while leading up to that point. For a couple of years, I was obviously doing his impressions and everything like that, and it just felt good to be recognized for that, especially from the man himself.
Hmm.
Because he originally he first saw the video, he commented, he liked a couple of times, and then he followed me on every fucking platform after that, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. And then all of a sudden we get an email saying, hey, would you like to come to VCon and pretty much like impersonate him on stage
Yeah.
in front of thousands of people, and that was definitely one of the most surreal moments of my life, 100%.
Was it
It was cool.
intimidating to go up on stage and do the impression in front of him?
A little bit, but I mean, at the same time, like I'm a stand-up comedian, so I've been on stages for 7 years,
Yeah.
performing in front of randoms and strangers and bombing night in, night out. Like, I'm comfortable on stage at this point, but obviously still a little nerve-wracking. It's a new environment. It's
Mm.
Gary Vee. Like, I definitely want to do a good job, but at the same time, I was like, I'm in my element right here. So it felt good to be there and to do that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I did want to know a little bit about your background, where it all started for you as a comedian. When did you know that you wanted to do comedy?
About 7 years ago. Like I was studying in university, and I wasn't really happy doing what I was doing, and I never really, I was never really doing anything that I really loved, until I found comedy, and then that was when I made the really quick, abrupt decision to just drop out and take that big jump, that risk to pursue my passion, which is comedy and acting. And yeah, and ever since I've been going hard, all in.
That's amazing. How old are you?
Right now I'm 27, so I started when I was like 20.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I hear a lot of people say that the later you start comedy, the harder it gets.
Yeah, yeah,
Did have
sure. Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
no,
starting at
definitely.
20 is not that late, I guess. But did you
No, that's
notice?
pretty early. That's pretty early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did actually want to ask you about, having nerves on stage. Did you have any of that, like the first couple of times you went on, or the first while?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The first like, there's always nerves. I mean, and that never really goes away. Um, because like when you truly care about something, you're always gonna be nervous because you
Mm,
want to do well.
yeah.
But yeah, like I'd say the first like few times, or like first few months even, was like the hardest, because that's when you're just like starting to get on stage and in front of random people, like strangers, and I mean, you don't know what to expect, right? It's a very new experience.
Mm,
So yeah, it was definitely very nerve wracking, and like I never got to a point where I was like, I don't know, like tripping out and like blanking out or anything like
mm.
that. But yeah, like my heart would race. I'd be very tense. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm just anxious. I just want to get on stage and do this thing. But yeah, overall, it's been good.
Yeah. That terrifies me. And that's probably the biggest barrier
Yeah,
to entry about comedy, perhaps, is getting over that the nerves and the social anxiety in a way of
yeah,
being afraid of being made fun of.
yeah. I mean, yeah. You have to just not care. Honestly, like that's one profession where it's like you just gotta do it. You just gotta do it, and literally not worry about anyone's judgment or opinions, because it's one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion, in the world, is go on stage and do stand up.
Mm,
Like, not many people can do that, obviously, right?
no,
1% of the world can do it and do it
absolutely.
good.
Yeah.
So,
You have to be funny and you have to not give a fuck about what people think. Two very hard things to do.
Yeah, you got to be confident. You got to know yourself. Self awareness is key, obviously, too. Knowing if you're funny or not, or and if you're, it's okay if you're bad at the time, but knowing that you have potential is also a good thing.
Yeah.
What keeps you going, you know?
Did you have any really, really bad bombings where you were just like, fuck, man, this is not gonna work?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, many times. There's a couple times where I left feeling so down on myself, that I cried even on the way back home, um, because I was like, wow, like I thought I was better than this, or it was a big reality check, or
Mm,
I got humbled many times. You just don't know until you do it, right? And then when it hits you, you're like, damn, the shit hurts.
yeah.
But that's what makes you a lot better in
Yeah.
the long run. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think those moments really make the positive moments shine a lot more. Like, God damn, I made it, you know?
yeah, I know, 100%. Yeah, and it makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Right now, Andrew Schulz is
Mm,
definitely one of my favorites.
yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of myself in him on a smaller level. I aspire to be pretty much just like his like how he is and his style on stage. I think it's just so funny.
Yeah, he is a great example of someone who doesn't give a fuck. Like, he says
No, yeah,
exactly what he means.
yeah, exactly, and that's what I really respect about him for that.
I think that's very important. People like him, honestly, not just in comedy, but for the world in general. You know, it might sound a bit cringe, but I think we've gotten so soft as a society, and it's rare to find people that really speak their mind about stuff.
Well, yeah, it's up to the comedians, right? Through humor,
Yeah,
makes it a little easier to digest.
yeah, you're right.
It's
I think
our
you are
job,
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember like I've been a comedy fan for as long as I can remember. I'm from Denmark, so
Oh, nice.
haven't gotten to see many foreign comedians until like the
Mm.
past few years. But I remember growing up and slowly starting to see even the comedians being more squeaky clean and being afraid
Mhm.
of what people saying or what people think of them rather. And
Yeah.
it's so strange that the world has gotten this way.
I mean, yeah, I think throughout throughout the times, there's been waves of different types of comedy. Like in the '80s and '90s, like mostly like '80s, that was when like the offensive comedy was big, and people loved the offensive comedy. And then near the like end of the '90s, 2000s, it kind of like came back down a little bit, wasn't that crazy, and then it went back up to offensive and shocking, and then like pretty much like 2010s hit. That was when the progressive comedy started to come into
Mm,
play, or people started to get sensitive, and all this politically correctness start to be involved, and that's when everyone started to get canceled and
yeah.
bullshit.
God.
But yeah, like I think there's always going to be those ups and downs and waves and different types of comedy. Like I feel like it's going to get to a breaking point in the next. Actually, it's kind of getting there now, where people are kind of tired of that PC culture
Mm,
of the being sensitive on
yeah.
stage and but you can't say this and can't say that type of jokes, and where people are craving the more offensive
Yeah.
comedy, the more real comedy.
Yeah. It's ironic. I think social media plays a huge part in in being so soft.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
you know,
I
because
mean, yeah,
yo, go ahead. Sorry.
no, yeah, I just feel like you can be swayed a lot by seeing the same things on social media because, especially because the algorithm knows you more than you know yourself,
Yeah.
right? So you'll just go down this rabbit hole of seeing the same things over and over again because that's what the algorithm notices that you like a lot or that you view a lot, and so you're almost swayed to like one side, one perspective, and that's why people get either very sensitive or offended or whatever it is because they keep seeing like the same type of information,
Mm,
but they're missing out on the other side of the world, right? The whole other perspective that the world sees, and so there's pros and cons to social media and swaying how people think about
yeah.
comedy.
Absolutely. So, do you think the social media algorithm would have to change before we see people starting to loosen up essentially?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, because like I said, it becomes sometimes you just get into this echo chamber
Mm-hmm.
of seeing the same shit, and for a lot of people, it's like people who read just the headlines and they make a decision on like,
Yeah.
no, this is a matter of fact, but like really they didn't do any research or they didn't, you know, they know nothing about the topic at hand. Whereas someone like me, like if I don't do the research, like I'm not even gonna say anything. I just don't care. But
Mm.
people get stuck in these echo chambers of seeing the same type of information. They make the decision and they think that's like the matter. That's the right. That's exactly. This is it. This is the right thing that's happening. But like they fail to realize that there's a whole other side of
Yeah.
everything. And so I mean, yeah, in that way it's kind of shitty. But at the same time, social media is garnering so much more attention than anywhere else. So
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
then yeah.
Have you felt your growth has been stunted at all by social media because of your content or?
Somewhat. I mean, it's always been a slow rise for me, which is good because I'd rather not blow up right away because I don't know. I feel like it's good to build that strong foundation and base first before you go viral like
Mm.
crazy. But I feel like now, like I'm at a point where I'll be ready for that if it does happen. But took me years to get to this point now,
Yeah.
where I am on my socials right now. But yeah, there's been many setbacks for sure. Like I got banned a few times. I got shadow banned a bunch. Like
Yeah.
every platform. It's like it's always a battle to get over.
Yeah.
But been, it's been pretty good so far. Not gonna lie.
I think also it's much healthier for mental health to grow up slowly but surely instead of blowing up day one. You see so many
Yeah,
people like Charlie D'Amelio. There was the whole
yeah,
thing
crazy.
about her being super ungrateful for not reaching 100 million followers in 1 year or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you just lose perspective of the real world
I know.
by so many eyeballs on you.
It's crazy. Yeah, and like also, um, people think like their following translates to what their worth is, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
none of that matters. Honestly, none of this shit matters. Like, no one gives a fuck about you. As harsh as that sounds, like when people get too strung up on, oh, like should I post this video? Should I post this video? I don't know if it's good enough. Realistically, no one cares. Like you could post any video. People like you could post the best video in the world that you
Mm-hmm.
think it's the best. Within like not even a day, people will forget about it. Like
Mm.
it's that simple. Like people have so much shit to deal with in their own lives already that they can't even care as that much about your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And especially if they're scrolling on Instagram or wherever, like they've already the amount of um you know like the amount of like shit that everyone's seeing every day coming at them
Mm-hmm.
and they're scrolling, they're seeing all these videos, like they're gonna immediately forget your video.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that stuff too, and people who blow up too early also I think is a bad thing because like let's say you're a creator or whatever, you're a comedian or whatever, you're posting videos and you post one video and it blows up now and it's like I don't know 30 million views. When people check your page and they see that you have no other videos, who cares?
Yeah.
You have nothing else to prove that you like that you're gonna that this is good content. So no one's gonna follow you.
Yeah.
But let's say it's someone like me. I'm just using myself as an example because it's the easiest for me. But like I've been posting content for 7 years and like daily at this point. There's thousands of videos that
Mm-hmm.
you can pull from in my catalog. If I blew up today and I got like 100 million views on something, and most people who would click on my profile, they'd probably be way more inclined to follow me than the other person who has no videos,
Yeah.
because because like they can trust me, they can see, oh, okay, this guy's not just like a one hit wonder, he has a catalog.
Yeah.
Like they're more inclined to like stick along for the journey. So that's why I always push for people to just like post whatever the fuck you want and not care, because yeah, you just never know.
Yeah. It's much better for the long term to be authentic
Yeah,
and post what you want. I agree.
100%. Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
I think going back to what you said about people valuing them self based on their amount of followers. I think we see that so much with kids, especially, and it is horrible. And
Yeah.
I think in that sense, and down at that age, I think there is, unfortunately, people do care about other people's followers. I think the popular kids have more followers. They don't want to hang out with the kids that don't have followers, which is so strange. Like, I'm only 24, but when I was a kid, that was not a thing
Yeah.
at all.
No, not at all. Yeah, same.
It's
Like, no, yeah.
it's such a strange direction the world is heading in.
Well, I mean, yeah. I think. How old are you?
24.
Yeah, so we're pretty much the same. Like our generation kind of grew up without technology and like social media, but also with it as well. Like
Yeah.
we got like best of both worlds. Like near the end of no technology and phones, and like a lot of it. But like we grew up without it enough where it's like okay, like we know what life is before
Yeah.
this, and so I feel like we're the best generation for
I
that.
agree. Yeah.
And I'm very happy about that because I'm like I would hate it if I was like a boomer who like didn't grow up with this stuff at all, and
Mm.
now they're like 60 or 70, and they're like, what the hell is this, right? And also on the other end, the people who are born with all this technology now, where like they're iPad kids, like they're just constantly on the iPad, like
Mm-hmm.
just they won't take they're glued to the screens, right? Like I would hate that. So we definitely got the best of both worlds. We're the best generation for that because we have two different perspectives on life. Like it's like you're not just swayed through social media, like you're not born into it. Like, but you also had life before social media, where it's like you just had to live life to learn shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but I feel bad for fucking people who are born with like they're born now.
Yeah. People who are
With all
literally
this,
born with an iPad in their hand.
all this, just so much sense, like just sensory, like just so too much shit
Yeah.
being processed in your brain from screens.
I have there's a little girl in my family, and she is almost only stimulated by her iPad, and she's like 2 or 3 years old. It's
That's
so
insane.
hard to she doesn't she's not good at keeping eye contact with people. And I mean,
Yeah,
she's, of course, she's a baby, but still,
yeah,
like, it's kind of scary, man.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly where it's going. It's a sensory overload. That's the word I was looking for. It's you don't even know what to do with all this shit coming at your brain every day, and
Yeah.
and that's why and like they kids like that will grow up being socially awkward. They're not gonna have proper social cues. Like
Hmm.
it's gonna be bad. Like everyone's gonna be a robot.
Yeah. And
That's
soon we're moving into the metaverse, and oh god.
it. It's gone. People are gone.
Yeah.
We are no longer humans.
Oh god.
No connection.
It's so exciting but scary at the same time, man.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, man, nothing beats human connection.
Hmm.
Nothing beats human connection. Like you can't mimic that anywhere else. You can't
No.
feel that through anyone else than a human being.
Yeah.
So
You don't think it's possible to create some sort of AI in the future that can really mimic a human being, like, completely?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I think that's so far away from
Yeah.
what we are at now. There's they have like human robots now, obviously AI, but like still not the same.
Mm.
Still not as a regular human being. Like they can't feel, they can't help you like with your emotions and shit.
No.
Like that shit that matters. Like
Yeah.
physical stuff, of course, but even then, I don't know what good is that. Like it's just like a, I don't know. It's so superficial right now, but um, I wouldn't put it past honestly. Like when we're dead, that's when this shit will probably happen.
Yeah.
But for now, I don't think
No.
that's possible.
Yeah, it's probably gonna take a while, but it's fascinating to think about, I think. I wanted to talk a little bit about your tour.
Yeah.
When is it?
My tour starts September 18th in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. So I'm doing my first ever national stand-up comedy tour across Canada, my home country, obviously. And yeah, I'm very excited to do it. It's going to be like pretty much like 6 weeks long, hitting a bunch of different cities. and yeah,
That's
it's gonna
awesome.
be fun. Yeah,
I've always been super fascinated about tours, any kind of artists, singers, or comedians, what it's like. Is this your first tour?
yeah, it'll be my first legit tour. Yeah, my
Okay,
own tour. Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So pretty exciting.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so tell me how it works because I'm super dumb when it comes to this stuff. So you do you go like in an RV or how does it work? You do.
No, yeah. So I mean, there's many different ways. I mean, it depends. Like, it depends how much money you have too, because yeah, obviously, like someone like Kevin Hart or like someone like Dave Chappelle or whatever, um, like they're flying everywhere, like in
Mm,
private jets, right, to every city. They're not gonna like they're not gonna drive or I don't know, take a regular plane, right? So there's tiers. For me, like we're just taking regular flights to hit every city. Um, it's too far for us to drive to the different cities, so we're just like you just fly everywhere. You stay there for a couple of days, and then you leave. You fly to the next place, stay there, fly to the next place, and that's it. So, yeah, that's pretty simple.
mm, that's cool. Canada is massive. I've never been there,
Yeah,
but I would
it's
love to.
huge.
So you're from Toronto?
Toronto, yeah, the
Is
the
is that the capital?
no, Ottawa is the capital,
Okay.
which is like it's like 4 or 5 hours outside of Toronto, but Toronto's like the main city of Canada.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's
knows,
what
right?
I like. Whenever I think of Canada, I think Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah, I know that's the one that's like the biggest for the world.
Yeah, would love to
Yeah,
go to Canada. It looks beautiful.
yeah,
People
you
are
should.
so nice, man, from what I hear.
Yeah, probably maybe not as nice as the Danish people, but
Maybe I don't know. I think,
hey, I've heard great things about Denmark,
yeah,
man. I would live there for sure.
yeah. I
Like,
mean, it's a super socialistic, kind of like Canada, right?
yeah, I mean, but you guys have like well, like free healthcare, free like the prison system is amazing there. Apparently, right? Like
I,
they treat them like actual
yeah,
humans, not dogs.
yeah. You can have like an Xbox. You can have everything in prison
A
here.
mansion. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like low crime rates, right? Like there's free education. Like
Hmm.
that's insane.
Yeah, we get paid to go to school when we turn 18. It's so weird.
That's crazy. That's completely backwards from any other place in this world.
Yeah,
Everywhere should be like Denmark in those terms.
I have, it's really interesting because I feel slightly the opposite because I feel like it kind of contributes to people being soft, being handed
Yeah,
everything to you.
true. Yeah,
Of course, free healthcare, free education, I'm all for it. I think people should have equal accessibility to that.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think when you get paid to go to school, we might cross the line. That's my take
Yeah,
on it.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that's yeah, that's probably too much.
And the,
But
yeah,
like, it should be reasonable at least if you're gonna. No, it should be free. It should be free education. Like, yeah, I don't think you should be getting paid because that's crazy. But yeah, like it should be free at least.
yeah. On the other hand, though, we pay 40 to 50% in taxes, so
Oh wow.
it's
Okay, so
pretty
it's kind of
high.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
it kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
evens out in a way, I guess, perhaps.
I guess. I mean, it's still not bad, but
But
definitely yeah,
Canada has free healthcare, no?
yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Okay.
There's like certain services though you still have to pay a lot. Your insurance gets crazy rates.
Mm.
Yeah.
See, super interesting. I would love to go to
Yeah.
Canada.
Oh, yeah.
For
You should,
absolute.
man. Yeah. Come to Toronto, man. You come to one of my shows.
Yes, I would love to, man. Seriously. Neema, this
Oh, yeah.
was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for taking your time to do this.
Of course, man. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. And all the best of luck for you too.
Thanks, man. And go ahead, plug away.
Yeah. So, yeah, all my social media is NeemaNaz on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. I'm all over. And going on my first ever stand-up comedy tour, obviously. I don't know if you have any Canadian listeners on here, but if they do, go to NeemaNaz.com for tickets. I'm hitting a bunch of cities, and that's it.
Awesome.
On to bigger and better things.
Awesome. Thanks, man. And thanks to the listeners for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.